Getting back to people quickly is one of the highest leverage things you can do in your career or your business. And yet so many people get this simple thing badly wrong. According to one study, the average response time for most people is 16 hours. Well, their mistakes can be your unfair advantage, especially in the age of AI. So today I'm going to teach you how to build an AI secretary using Lyzr.ai and Make.com that will respond to all of your email inbounds straight away and has inbuilt knowledge of your business and your services so that your customers can get answers immediately and they don't have to wait for you. That frees up your time to get on with whatever it is you do in your business, and you don't have to spend all day looking at your phone responding to emails. You can just get back to the important stuff later on. So the first thing that you're going to do is head to Lyzr.ai, that's Lyzr.ai, and you're going to head over to the Agent Studio. Now, you'll have to sign up or sign in. So this is the Lyzr dashboard. We're at home here, and here you can see the agents. So hit agents and then hit create new. Here you're going to give your agent a name. I'm going to call mine Ava. In description, we're just going to add secretary to Tom Edwards for responding to emails. Pretty simple. Now here is what is interesting about Lyzr.ai. You have the option for all of these different companies and models. So that means that your agent is not going to be reliant on just one provider. If OpenAI releases a new model that's really good, then you can use that one. If Perplexity or Anthropic release a new one, then you can switch over to that. So it's pretty cool. This one, I'm just going to use GPT-4o Mini because I know it's good and I know it's fast. Here we have the agent role. So again, you're just going to write in plain language what the role is. Okay, so here I've given the agent a role and instructions. Here you can see I've put, when you receive an email, you read it and formulate a response based on your knowledge of the business. You will be clear and transparent that you're an AI secretary. You will let senders know that you can answer their questions and that Tom will respond within 3 business days. Now, the Lyzr platform has this button here, improve, which means that you can improve the prompt. So let's go ahead and hit that. So here you can see it's tidied up my prompt and just broken it down into steps so that it's super clear for the AI. So here it's got 1, clearly identify yourself as an AI secretary, read and analyze the email to understand the context, answer the questions to the best of your abilities based on knowledge of the business, inform the sender that Tom Edwards will personally respond within 3 business days, ensure clarity and transparency in all communications. Very good. So now we're going to look over on the right hand side here, and you can see it's got these different options. One is the knowledge base, so we're going to come back to that shortly. Next is a data query, which we don't need for this particular example. But this one here, short-term memory, retains contextual memory for the last 100 inferences. So that one we are going to want because it will mean that when our secretary is responding, it will be able to understand the context of the conversation and the answers that she has already given. So we're going to hit that one on. Long-term memory, I'm not going to use for this one, but you can figure that that would be useful in other use cases. And then humanizer, this one adds human-like responses to the agent. So this will just be built into the prompt, some kind of like, well, I just did it there, kind of like those kinds of things. Probably a little bit more professional than that, but making it sound a little bit more like a person and a little bit less like a robot. So we're going to hit that one on as well. Now these ones, responsible and safe AI, this is good to have. For this example, I'm not going to have any of this stuff on, but you can take a look and read them all for yourself. Reflecting on responses, grounded in provided context and knowledge. Actually, we will have that one on. Groundedness, grounded in provided context and knowledge. And then safe AI, fairness and bias, toxicity. So again, I don't think we're going to need any of these for this one because it's going to be pretty straightforward. So now we're going to go ahead and hit create. Once that's done, we now have to define our knowledge base, and that is the knowledge that the secretary has about your business. So if we head over to knowledge bases, you can see I've already got one here, but I'm going to create a new one for the purposes of this. Name, I'm going to call this one TEAI Business Knowledge. Okay, so you don't need to worry too much about the embedding model for, straightforward business use cases. This is just the way that the knowledge is converted into numbers that a large language model can understand. Okay, just had to edit that because it needs to be lowercase. So we're going to hit create. Now, what we want to do is we're just going to create a document which is our knowledge base. Here, I've now got my knowledge base document. You will have to create one of these yourself. The way that I've created mine and the way that I would suggest you create yours is by discussing your business with AI and getting the AI to structure it for you. So I have given ChatGPT a whole heap of different pieces of information about me and my business, and I've asked it to create a knowledge-based document for me. Here you can see I've got the about section, the services and pricing section. These are not my real prices, as you can probably guess. And then some ideas on what you can automate. So stuff that I've created content about before and stuff that I know how to do. And then platforms that I can work with and that the AI knows that I can work with. And then a little bit of sales guff. So what we're now going to do is just download that as a Word doc. Then we head back over to the Agent Studio. Then we head back over to the Agent Studio, back into the knowledge base. And now we're going to upload the document. There we go. Now you can see it can also go away and crawl web pages for you. So that's super useful. If you've got a website set up, you don't even need the knowledge base document. You can just crawl your website. For me, this is knowledge that I have that I want to upload directly. So here we go. We will just upload that knowledge base. Okay, now we're going to head back over to the agent, Ava, and we're going to ask her to access our knowledge base. Here you can see now that I've created the knowledge base, it's set up here, TEAI business knowledge. So we're going to hit that one. And then in terms of retrieval type, what we're looking for here is we've got basic MMR, which is a pretty simple and straightforward type of search, and HYDE, which stands for hypothetical document embeddings. And that is just a fancy way of saying it creates a best guess answer using AI, and then it will try to find similar things. So for this one, we're going to leave it on basic because, again, this isn't a super complex use case. We're going to leave it on basic so that it can just search through our knowledge base and find the information that it needs. Hit save, hit update. And now if we want to test our agent, we can do so here. So here we're going to say, hi, I want to work with Tom. What's the rate for a piece of video content? That's just an example of an email that I might get sent. So here you can see that my AI secretary has come back with a really awesome response. So, hi, sender's name. Thanks for getting in touch. I'm here to assist you regarding your interest in working with Tom Edwards for a piece of sponsored video content on Tom's YouTube channel, where we already have an impressive following and over 300,000 views and listens. All of this is coming from the knowledge base that we've created. The cost is £3. The video will be specifically aimed at an audience that's engaged with AI and business, spotlighting your product or story. Again, it's pulling that information from the knowledge base that I've created. Tom will get back to you within 3 business days. If you have any more questions or need any details, please don't hesitate to ask. Here it's got, and then it's got placeholders for names and assistant to Tom Edwards. So what I've realized here is that the name isn't actually pulling through into this. So I'm going to make sure that my secretary Ava knows that her name is Ava. Okay, so it's still not pulling through the name in my tests. I don't know why that is. So I am just going to hit launch and see if we can't get it working once it's been launched. So here goes. Hit launch. Are you ready? Okay, now we get to launch the app. So we put in a few details here and now we get to launch. Success. Now we can view our agent here. Okay, so it's set up in the Lyzr Agent Studio. So let's just try another test. Okay, fantastic. So now it's launched. I've asked it directly about who it is, and you can see it's now starting to fill in the name Ava. So we now have our agent set up in Lyzr. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to need to do is build out the automation in make.com. Head over to Make, and now what we want to do is create a new scenario. So the first thing that we're going to do is hit Gmail. So here you're going to have to configure your Gmail and get that all set up. Once that's done, I've already done that. So once that's done, you then want to hit Watch Emails. So this is going to simply look at your inbox and it's going to respond to emails. So first of all, the folder, I'm just going to go with all mail. I want it to monitor all of my mail. Simple filter, Gmail filter, we'll leave that as simple. And then criteria, we're going to go with only unread. And then we're going to say, yes, mark them as read when fetched. So then when I'm in my Gmail, I can see which ones have been responded to by Ava. And I want it just to pull through one at a time for now. So as you can see here, maximum number of results. Let's leave that as it is. I'm not expecting this to have to deal with millions and millions of emails. If I did, you would be able to set that up and pull in lots, but I don't want to flood my API tokens with lots and lots of different emails. So I'm going to leave it as one at a time for the purposes of this demonstration. And let's say from now on. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is set a variable. Here you can see in tools, you've got set variable, and the variable name, we're just going to call it email message. And then the variable value, here we want to hit toString. And then in this one, we want to go for the content of the email. So the next thing we need to do is transform it to a JSON, and that's just a format that workflow automations like to use to pass information around. So hit the email message that we've just created from the previous module and hit save. Okay, so next up we need to make a request using this little module here. And so for this information, we need to head back over to the Agent Studio. This is what is clever about the Lyzr Studio, is that it gives you all of this API information. An API is just a simple way for different types of information to talk to each other across the internet. First of all, we need to grab the URL, which we can find in our Agent API box from the Lyzr Agent Studio. The URL is this bit here with HTTPS at the front. Next, we want the method, which is going to be post. Then we want to type in content type here and application/JSON. Then the next item in our headers section is going to be XAPI key. Now this again is just taken from here. You can see this denotes header XAPI key, and then you just grab this. Then you're going to drop all of that other information in here, adding into the message section your JSON string. And then you want to hit yes on pass response and hit save. Then finally, we come back to Gmail and we're going to say send an email. Now here, our subject is just going to be and then the subject, and then the content is simply going to be the data from our request. Hit save. Sorry, you need to add in the recipient, which is going to be sender email address. Hit save on the automation. Now I'm going to send myself an email. Now let's hit send on that email, and now we're going to test our automation and make sure that it works. So run, it's watching the emails, maybe the email. Okay, so now we're going to hit run, and let's see if anything comes through. Right, so few bits of debugging, which, you know, is kind of part and parcel of doing these things, but we're there now. So I'm going to take you through the full automation from beginning to end. So Gmail, this is watching for our emails and triggering the automation. We're then setting a variable, so that is email message, converting it into a string. Then the JSON is like a nugget of information that can be passed through APIs, which is what this HTTP module is doing. We've set it up so that it talks to Lyzr Agent Studio. We've pulled the values from the Agent Studio in the API box and dropped them in and put in the JSON string as the message. From there, we're then going to pass the JSON string. So we're going to take the data from the HTTP module and parse it. We then have this module, the text parser, which is matching this pattern, which is just new lines, and it's replacing it with this, which is also new lines, but for emails. And then we have global match set to yes, case sensitive set to yes, although it doesn't really matter in this case. Multi-line set to no, and single line set to yes, so that it will check for our line breaks. The reason why we're doing this is because if you don't, your email responses from your secretary will come through in one big block of text with no breaks in them. That doesn't look very professional. No real secretary would do that. So we're not going to have our virtual secretary do it either. Then where it says text, you're literally taking the response from the JSON module, which is the one immediately preceding it. So here you can see you're just dropping in this response here, save. Then once you've done all of that, it's time to send the email. So you have the sender's email address in email address, the subject, I've just put RE, and then the subject that they sent. So it's a reply, obviously. And then in content, you want the text from the text parser. Save that. So now I am going to send myself a dummy email quickly. Okay, Eddie has sent Tom, me, an email. So we've got this all set up. So it's only looking for unread emails. That's good. And it's going to do them at regular intervals starting yesterday for the demo. So when we hit run, it's now checking for emails. It's found one. It's set the variable. It's now running the request through to the API. And now it has sent a response. And here we've got our reply. Hello, I'm Ava, the AI Secretary to Tom Edwards. Thank you for reaching out regarding working with Tom. His service rates are as follows: workflow consultancy, and then it's got the price, £1, workflow build, £2, sponsored video, £3, all taken from my knowledge base. And then Tom will personally respond to your inquiry within 3 business days. So there you have it. The workflow automation is now reading the email, formulating response based on the knowledge base that I've created for it. It's identifying itself as an AI assistant, and it's telling that customer that I'm going to get back to them within 3 business days. So I've now got Ava, my personal AI assistant, who's going to be working for me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. She's always on, she's always polite, and I'm sure my customers are going to love her. If you want to keep up to date with the latest tools, tricks, tips, and news in the AI world, make sure to hit subscribe.